Hi everyone, this is Grace, and today I'll be walking you through how I made this Robots and Bears set. So let's go. Now, real talk, this set I actually made a couple of years ago. I always like to have a couple of sets on hand that I can post if I run out of content or whatever. And this was one of those sets, and I just never, I don't know, I never felt like I needed to use it, so I didn't. But it's been 2 years now almost, so I think it's about time. This is still though, I mean, one of my favorites. I've never made robots before. I mean, I've done it once, obviously, with this set, but I never made them again. This set was made for a dear friend's son's third birthday, and she loves robots and bears. Both she and her husband. It's a big thing for them, and his room has beautiful robot and bear murals that she painted. The mother, because she's an artist, and the child has a bunch of robot and bear toys. But anyway, so the theme here obviously had to be robots and bears. So we're starting with the robot. This was at a point in my cookie decorating life when I often used a one consistency outline and flood, or at least as much as possible, which is what this is. And right, I was like, what else do I have to say about that? uh, good. I'm just losing my train of thought. Okay, it is a thick flood that I used for the big parts, but now I'm using a soft peak piping consistency to flood the little hands and the feet. Is that even what you call them? You can see there that my icing kind of curled a little bit. That can happen for a couple of reasons. I think the most common, well, there are two most commons, maybe three. Okay, number one is that when you cut the tip of your tipless bag, you didn't cut like do a clean cut. So if there's any little bit of extra plastic on the end of your bag, then it's going to kind of snag the icing as it comes out of the bag. That's one reason. Another reason is just inconsistent pressure on your bag. My guess is that's what I did, because I don't think it was the bag snag thing. And then the third reason, I don't know if it's really a reason, but I've found if my icing is too thick and I'm trying to use too small of a hole, that it just won't come out happily. So yeah. And I let those crust. You can tell that the icing has crusted because it's significantly less shiny. Here, I'm pretty sure that that black was supposed to be a soft peak, but you can see it's kind of too thin. And this happened to me for a really long time with my black, especially for piping. Just the sidebar, the gray here is also a soft peak piping consistency. I have a hunch with that black that it was supposed to be a soft peak, but I way oversaturated the icing. I think this was before I started using the Sugar Art Master Elite in black, number one. Number two, it was just before I really understood color development. I mean, I had a general idea, but when it comes to black, the lesson I have learned is to color it to a very dark gray, but still not quite black. And I promise by the time the cookie is dry, it will be black. That's just my one tip. So if you over saturate your color with gel coloring, I assume I was using gel coloring here, it's going to mess with the consistency of the icing and it's not going to dry correctly. So that's my guess about my kind of sad looking black up there. This green here is definitely a medium peak. I can tell that because that heart is holding really nice definition. If it was more like a soft peak, it would kind of melt together more. No, just cute little robot. I'm totally obsessed with this little guy. And then the eyeballs. Um, Yeah, this is a really soft peak. I can tell as I'm piping it, and it's like way oversaturated. The fact that it looks so black coming out of the bag. um, just doing a little white highlight here for the eyes while the black is still wet. Then adding some eyebrows to my robot because obviously robots need eyebrows. And a face. Cutie patootie. And I think, nope, that's not it. That's not it. So we're adding a little bit of detail on the gray bits. Now I remember I wasn't planning on doing this, but I was feeling very self-conscious about the little peaks that were left from the scribe. No, I didn't use a scribe on those sections. Excuse me, that yawn came out of nowhere. Yeah, I don't know. Did I plan on doing these lines? I don't know, but I just remember thinking, ooh, maybe it will distract from the little peaks that were left over from trying to settle the icing. So, yep. All right. Cutie patootie. Alrighty, up next we have this balloon that I decorated in both the number 3 and the child's name. So, the key to this balloon is the color, I think. This beautiful bright green kind of chartreuse situation. I'm pretty sure that first of all, I would have used Americolor. Oh shoot. Is it called neon blue or bright blue? Darn. They have should have looked that up. Americolor has pink, yellow, and blue. Maybe other colors too, but I don't own them. In some sort of like, I don't think they don't call it neon. They might call it bright. My hunch is it's called bright. I started with those, but then this is a very yellowy green. So there's a lot of extra yellow in this to give it that kind of almost chartreuse effect. And again, that was a 1 consistency outline in Flood. And then I'm going in here to do the little dotteroo, little highlight. And then I want to say, you know what, this was balloon lettering that I definitely found on the internet, like dafont.com, is that what it's called, or dafont? Excuse me, I just sneezed. Hopefully that was not too loud. Oh, I should probably listen to that over. Okay, this is that soft peak, and boy, is this a soft peak because it's like settling on its own. I am amazed that these cookies didn't bleed, like, because I clearly oversaturated this black. Excuse me again. Yeah. Okay. Focus, Grace. So I don't know what else. I mean, I outlined and flooded this with a very thin, soft peak. Maybe that was actually intentional. It's also possible it's intentional. The reason why it would be intentional is because I knew that I was going to use 1 consistency for the balloon letters, and certainly a soft peak on the softer end would be easier to work with than a true soft peak. So, yeah, I don't know. Since I made this 2 years ago, I'm not sure what my intention was. All right, I've gotten some comments, or at least one comment, about this not really being a teddy bear because it's gray. I still think it's a teddy bear, whatever. The reason I made this gray was because as I was coming out with the color palette for the set, I was like, I'm sorry, but I didn't want to make brown just for the bear. And I was already making gray for the robot. So I was like, we're going to make this a gray teddy bear. Now, an alternative, if you did want to make this a brown teddy bear and didn't want to make an extra color, is I did use white a tiny, tiny bit. Now, I'm pretty sure that the white that I used, though, on the eyes and the little highlights was actually a flood. But what you could do instead is to make the white a soft peak. And I could have done those portions of the robot in white and then painted that with a silver metallic dust, thinned with Everclear, of course, or color solution from the Sugar Art. My favorite silver is the new silver from the Sugar Art Sterling Pearls collection. New spelled N-U, not N-E-W. Anyway, and then I still would have done the highlights in the soft peak, which is a little more challenging because it really should be a flood, but it can totally be done. Now, the most annoying part about this bear is definitely all the different sections, because it's just a series of flooding in sections, and it just takes time to have to wait in between each section. Not the end of the world, but yeah, he's still cute. Aww. The robot, I linked this in the description. The robot is from Kaleidocuts, and this bear is from Brighton Cutters, and then the balloon is Anne Clark. So oh my god, I'm actually doing the bear technique on a bear. Finally. So the key here is, number one, you have to make sure that that base icing has dried enough and it can withstand some pressure, because this is a decent amount of pressure, especially in the middle of the icing where it's just naturally going to be less dry. I'm using a particularly large brush here. My other tip would be to do the bear technique before you do the section next to it. So that's why I did all of the gray first, so that I could messily and not worry about doing the bear technique. If I had done the purple sections first, it's not impossible to do, or this section, this little center section as well. If I had done these before I did the bear technique, it just would have been more stressful to do the bear technique, because it's really easy to accidentally get the extra icing on the sections that are not supposed to have it. That makes me also think about my suggestion for the robot. Now, I prefer to, just like with the bear technique, I prefer to do, what am I trying to say? I prefer to do metallic painted sections also before doing the section next to it. So with the robot, I really don't see a way to do the little arms and the legs first. I think those do need to be done after the purple sections. So it would just be a slightly stressful painting situation, but not terrible. I think my favorite part of this bear might be the little claws. I don't know. This must be a soft peak that I'm using, but like a really soft peak. And then the little eyes. The little eyes of the bear. No. And the nose. He's so cute. Adorable. Such a little sweetheart. Aww. Eyebrows can totally make a facial expression of anything, but particularly animals, of course, on a cookie. Eyebrows, mouth placement. This is just like a curious little bear. Aww. So sweet. So sweet. Aww. Little sweetheart. And that's the whole set. Really simple. Child's birthday party, robots, bears, throw in a balloon with their age, their name, and you're done. I don't think I have anything else to say about this. I enjoyed sharing this set with you. As always, I hope you learned a thing or two. I hope you try some of this, or maybe you just love watching these videos and you have absolutely no plan to try doing this yourself, which is totally fine too. That's all I got. Have a sweet one, everyone.